Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast here on Big Blue View Radio. And today I have a special guest for you guys as we roll through the offseason, move toward the Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. So here to talk Giants and whatever else comes up today is former Giants kicker Lawrence Tynes. Lawrence, it's been a while since we've chatted. Thanks for hopping on.
You bet, Ed. Thanks for having me. It has been a while. Was a fun season, right? We got to celebrate some wins and watch some pretty decent football. So that was encouraging.
That was different.
It was, I've only been doing my Blue Rush show for 3 years, and it was night and day from the previous two.
Absolutely.
You can only talk about bad football so much, right?
Absolutely. I had to dust off the, hey, how do I cover a good football team? I had to dust that off for
you and all the other beat writers had to go back into the archives.
There you go. Hey, before we get into the Giants, a couple of other sort of fun things I want to talk about with you. You've been a busy guy lately. You've been a busy guy on social media lately.
Yeah.
And most of that defending your New York Giants. So I got to ask you about a couple of those. I got to ask you first and foremost about what the heck happened on that show you went on with the whole Eli thing. What the heck was that all about?
Yeah, that was actually a lot of fun. So it is a parody account, but it was two Eagles fans, right? They're just they asked me to come on. It's through Fox Sports, and I say yes a lot. I rarely say no. And I watched, did I watch one of their shows? And I thought, these guys are just, busting your balls the whole time. Well, listen, I'm not going to let them go in on Eli. So then you get the boot, and it was all more tongue in cheek a little bit, but at the same time, you could feel that they naturally did not think Eli was very good. So I wasn't gonna let him talk about my quarterback like that.
You weren't having any of that.
No. So they're funny guys. So they're two former I want to say comedian / personalities, producers. So I knew a little bit. I just didn't think it was going to get. It wasn't ever really intense though. I kept my cool.
But it was fun though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you weren't having any of Joe Staley going after Kayvon the other day either, were you?
No, because when you don't like Kayvon didn't do anything. He didn't say anything to personally attack somebody. He was just having fun. Like, hey, I think we could beat the Niners, or we're better than that. Whatever he said. And then Joe Staley comes out of the left field with a tweet personally attacking Kayvon's ability as a player. That's what kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, you don't even play anymore. Joe Staley was a great player. He was a really good player. But to come in and attack, listen, I get it. He's a Niner lover, just like we're Giants lovers. And he was pissed off that his team lost. So, and then of course Strahan came in. So listen, you mess with one Giant, even these young guys like Kayvon, you're going to get it up from all of us. So I just like to have guys back.
Well, that's how it is with you guys that have been through championship teams and been together. And, they say once a Giant, always a Giant. And it's fun to see you guys kind of jump out of the woodwork and defend.
Well, I was surprised Strahan came in, because I know him and Kayvon have developed some sort of a personal relationship this season. And so that was fun to see, Strahan saying, don't mess with my kicker or my rookie. So that's, you like to hear that from the big man.
Yeah, there you go. So before we get off this sort of fun topic, I got to ask you, did it burn you to see the Empire State Building in green?
Yeah, that was I couldn't even quite wrap my head around it. I thought somebody stole the key card to the control room, and it had to have been an Eagles fan. I thought there's just no way the Empire State Building is green and white. I don't know how you come back from that, right? I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they tried to, I guess, they turned it red and white for the Chiefs, like the day later, try and save face.
There you go.
That is for one. That is for two teams. It's for the Jets and for the Giants. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I happen to agree. So hey, let's talk a little bit about this Giants team. You said at the top that it was a lot of fun. You guys were doing your show during the year. Um, when you think about the season that the Giants had, I mean, can you sum up, maybe when you kind of figured out that this was real, that that there was something really good going on with the Giants?
Yeah, I would have to go back to the Jacksonville game. They were on the road, and we knew, regardless of record, how talented of a team Jacksonville was, and obviously we saw that at the end of the year they made the playoffs. But I just thought that was a pretty good football team, and to go down there and win late, I just the way they ran the ball right, they imposed their will on that team late, running the same play literally 6 or 7 times in a row. Of course, we lost a lot of players that game too, but that was the game where I said, "Man, this team is different." They look different. They competed to the very end, and they're physical and well coached. So it'd have to be that game is where I thought, "Man, this team is good."
Yeah, and what's your just what's your Daniel Jones take these days? I mean, I think the Giants have been clear that Jones will be back next year. I think people are a little bit shocked by the price tag that everybody hears, but shoot, even 35 million a year, which seems crazy, but 35 million a year is basically a mid-level at this point
I
for
agree.
quarterback money.
And I think people are shocked because they're misinformed. Like me and you, we know the league, we study the league, we know what it's going to cost to sign him.
Mhm.
And if that is sticker shock to everybody else, then you just don't know the market. I mean, the reality of it is if you can sit there and pay Dak Prescott 40 million plus a year, you can pay Daniel Jones 40 plus million a year because you're next up in line. It's always the next guy up in line, right? It happens.
Mhm.
Kickers, punter, any position, whoever's up next is going to get the most money. I mean, the franchise tag is 32 something, 32
Mhm.
point whatever. I mean, his agent is not doing his job unless he's coming in first number's got to be mid 40s, in my opinion. He's going to have to be. You're going to negotiate off that, but that's just the price you have to pay. And um,
Well,
John Mara likes him. He's got
mhm.
someone in his corner there. You do have to overpay for the quarterback at times, but in 2 years from now, he'll still be middle of the pack if he's at the $40 million mark.
Absolutely, and you can argue about whether he's top 10 or top 12 or
Yep.
whatever, but just I want to say this and I want your reaction to it. I looked at what Daniel Jones did this year, and especially going to Minnesota and winning that game. And the question for me about Daniel Jones was always, is that sort of, I can go on the road and win a big game in a big spot and pretty much carry my team to it? Is that in Daniel Jones? And for me, when he went to Minnesota, that sort of answered that question. I'm
I
just
agree.
curious if what you think about that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. He had played pretty well all season. I'm not going to say great, right? He had done some
Right.
nice things with what he had. But to go into Minnesota in a playoff atmosphere and do what he did with his legs and his arm, obviously not turning the ball over helped. That was big for him. I think I mentioned it on our show after that game. I mean, he kept making himself money, even from the game they lost, right?
Right.
In Minnesota because he played very well. But yeah, he's got some of that it factor in him. And I think next year, the confidence level he's going to have just being in the same system, knowing how Dable operates, knowing how Kafka operates if he's back, if he doesn't get a I just think the common theme of being with the same staff will just really rejuvenate him as a player and give him that much more confidence.
Yeah, it certainly helps because how many offenses have the Giants had in recent
Oh,
years? And when you talk about Jones in particular, I think he went through a couple different offenses at Duke as well.
yep, with Cutcliffe. But the consistency, right? And then you
Mhm.
never want to discount. I never want to discount NFL players like a Richie James and Slayton and Hodgins, and Hodgins is good, right? And I think Slayton's
Right.
a pretty solid player, but he just never had that guy, and he hasn't. He's never had him.
Right.
So you want to see him with that guy
Right.
at receiver and
Yeah, I
see what it does.
again, I thought that what Brian Dable and Mike Kafka did this year with the guys that they had at wide receiver, and as you said, those guys did good jobs. But what they did, stack formations, bunch formations, all kinds of traffic crisscrossing the field, they did a fantastic job getting guys open with their scheme and the routes and the combinations and all of that. To me, what the Giants still lack is that guy who's open when he's not open. That guy
Yeah,
the
exactly.
guy who can make the play for you. The guy that can do the things that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase did in the conference championship game the other day.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. The Giants won with scheme, not with talent, and that's okay. You can win with scheme. You don't have to. They don't have the most talented roster like an Eagles. The Eagles win with talent every week, and that's why they're so good. But that play, that fourth down play in the AFC Championship where Joe Burrow throws it 40, 50 yards downfield. I think it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
Right.
And they throw it. He throws it to Jamar Chase into double coverage because he knows he's either going to get interfered with or he's going to make the play. The Giants, to your point, they haven't had that alpha male in the receiver room or tight end room.
Right.
You think Bellinger can become that, but that's what they're missing, and I think that'll be a huge emphasis, whether it be in the draft or free agency coming up.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to talk about Super Bowl memories a little bit, but before I even get to that, I've got to ask you, when you're watching Brett Maher go through what he went through for Dallas, for a couple games there, missing all those extra points. What are you thinking? What are you feeling, watching this guy not be able to make an extra point?
Yeah, it's tough to watch. He had missed his only PAT the week before too, and most people wouldn't know that, but kickers do just because you follow guys. But he literally with the 4 in Tampa, that was 5 in a row, 5 PATs in a row, and I know they're 33 yarders, but once it becomes mental, it's hard.
Mhm.
If you would have sent him out there for a 33-yard field goal, he would have made it. It just there's something that it was that play, that particular. It's a PAT, and it got in his head. It really got in his head, and the one in San Francisco, that wasn't going in. Thank God it got blocked. So
Right.
most people in the world
So it
did.
doesn't look like a miss. It's just a block.
Yeah, that was
Right.
not even close. That thing was so far left, and it would have been honestly embarrassing had that ball cleared the line because that thing would have missed 30, 40 feet left. He hit it. It was bad. You just feel bad for guys like that, and you hopefully he can come out of it because he had an exceptional season, really good. I mean, he still has the most 60 yarders in the NFL, which is incredible. So um, that's the challenge of kicking. I've always said kicking in the NFL is not how many you make in a row. It's what do you do after you miss. The
You
good
ever been
ones.
you ever been through anything like that? I mean, I know we could talk about the Green Bay game, but there were circumstances but you ever
Yeah.
been through anything like that, even games,
No.
practices?
I'm sure I've had some days where the uprights look really skinny, from close range if you're not hitting the ball well. But kicking is just mental gymnastics. That's all it is. He made 2 nice field goals in that San Francisco game. But that's all kicking is. I've had the yips before, I'm sure. You just have to figure out a way to get out of it. And that's why I said what I said earlier. I don't care how many you make in a row, but NFL kickers are defined by what do they do after they miss. And so,
Mhm.
he struggled with that. So
Right.
he's a free agent too. I'll be interested to see what Dallas does with him.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation. Hey, let's talk. We got Super Bowl coming up here in a few days. I'm just curious, when you think about the Super Bowls that you've been in, you've got 2 rings with the Giants, and first and foremost, I'm curious, you treasure one more than the other?
Yeah, the first one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way we won it, everything on the road, the teams we beat, right? Every team had beaten us outside of Tampa that season, little redemption tour. And then, yeah, I mean, it was a lot for a lot of reasons. It was Strahan's first, it was Coughlin's first as a head coach, Eli. Yeah, the first one. And then, of course, you factor in that Green Bay game, to go up
Mhm.
there and beat that team how we
Yep.
did, Brett Favre, the elements. Yeah,
Yep.
that one's they're both good, but the first one's better.
I still don't know where you were going after where you thought you were
To the
going after
locker
you
room,
made that kick.
to the locker room. That
To
was
get
gone.
to get
I don't,
warm.
I was out. Yeah, that was, that's about as miserable as you can be. And just the mental toughness from everybody on both sides of the field to play in that game with those elements was, I'm sitting here, I'm 44, I'll be 45 in May. I'm such a wimp. It's 30 degrees outside, and I'm like, I'm not going outside. I couldn't do that right now. I could never do that again. I
No.
don't know.
Well, man, I'm 62 and I'm sitting here in my office and I've got a fleece on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the only reason I turned the heater off, I got the little space heater. The only reason I turned that off is because it makes noise. You
You're
know?
funny. I sit with a little, I'm sitting in my office too, but I keep a little heating pad for my low back, like just
Do
plugged
you?
in right next to here. And when I get cold, I just plug it in and
Uh,
place it behind my back because it warms me up. So
there you go.
we're just getting soft.
There you go. Yeah, I got heating pads and ice packs
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
know,
Father
aches and
time.
pains. There you go. There you go. But I was out trying to coach my little CYO basketball team full of 5th and 6th graders last night. And I'm like, you know, my jump shot range used to be 22 feet. And now it hurts to shoot from that far.
That is so funny. Well, good for you for coaching CYO because I coached it last year, high school freshman basketball.
It's
Never do
not
that again.
it's not easy. I've
No.
done it. I've done it for probably more than 20 years now. I've done it on and off.
Now, do you
And
have a kid or a family member on the team?
I used to, but the program that I'm in, my youngest boy, the last one I coached, is 26 now.
Okay.
So it's been a while, but it's just I give all kinds of credit to anybody who does it
Oh, yeah.
because it's volunteer, you don't get
It
paid,
is.
and you just and you catch a lot of abuse. You
Yeah,
really do.
my son came home last year. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to play some CYO hoops." I said, "Cool." It's fun here. It's a big thing in the Kansas City area. There's so many Catholic schools, but they just turn into like pushing and shoving matches because you're playing other
Mhm.
Catholic schools, testosterone, 14, 15-year-old boys. And I'll tell you what, about 5 games into that season, I looked at my son. I said, "Here's the deal. Don't you ever sign me up for this again." I these kids were like talking back to me on our team because I was just trying to substitute. Hey, you get some playing time. Everyone plays, right? CYO
Right.
for God's.
Right.
I had
Mhm.
kids like kind of raising their voice to me, and
Mhm.
I should be in. I should be in right now. So I said, "Here's the deal." I do not take to that very well. Little
Mhm.
kids, young kids talking back to an adult. So
Mhm.
I would sit guys. So
Yeah.
I was coaching them like I was a paid coach. I said,
Yeah.
you're on the bench the rest of the game. So
Yeah.
I was teaching them more life lessons. Who cares about a damn CYO basketball game? But
I happen to agree because all I care about is that they have a good experience, that
I
they
agree.
learn something, that they show respect, that they
Yeah.
respect each other. I had one little 10-year-old boy this year, all full of himself, come up and say to me, made a jump shot, and he said, Coach, you can't guard me.
Oh yeah.
You can't guard me. And I said, first of all, I can. Second of all, you don't want to find out, even though I'm still 62 years old. I said,
That's right.
you don't want to find out. And I said, third, you're never going to say that to me again.
Yeah. These
You're
kids are
never,
wild.
you're never going to talk to me like that again.
They're wild.
But
They're
it
wild
is, it
kids.
is, it is very, very different. But hey, I wanted to give you a chance before I let you go to, I said at the top, you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on. You got the podcast with Paul Schwartz. I don't know if you guys are still doing that through the off season.
We're done. Yeah, we're done. I do some things for Bovada. It's a gambling website. Yeah, we're done for the year. The post. We had a good year with the YouTube channel and Brandon London and Jake Brown. So we had a good season. Listen, it helps when the Giants are winning, right?
Absolutely.
People want to listen to that kind of stuff as opposed to the Joe Judge, McAdoo, Shermer era.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly glad that it looks like the 2-year Giants coaching cycle is over with.
It does. Yeah. And I think the most important thing is they got the GM right too, right? GM / coach and then quarterback. I mean, if you have those three things, which it feels like the Giants do, you can say what you want about Daniel Jones, but they have all three in place. And that's important for any organization.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Joe Shane is a smart guy. Brian Daboll is going to be there for a while. Yeah. Daniel Jones is not prime Aaron Rodgers, prime Tom Brady, but I think he's shown that he's a guy you can go forward with. So I think they've got those pieces. Now it's just a matter of what else they put around those guys.
Couldn't agree more. And Daniel Jones checks a lot of the good boxes, and his play, his effort. You can win with him. I'm certain you can win a Super Bowl with him.
All right. So I did want to just give you a chance real quick. You mentioned some of the stuff you're doing just to kind of check off the list of stuff you're doing and where people can find you and all that.
Yeah. So I'm at LT4Kicks on Twitter, LT4Kicks on Instagram, and that's about the max of my social media. Instagram's probably more family related and Bovada stuff, but Twitter is a wide open forum, as we know.
Yeah.
I enjoy Twitter. I know some people think it's a cesspool, but if you surround yourself with the right guys and mute the right words, you can mute words on there. People just love to get angry. They just want to yell about something, complain about something. That's just people in general.
Oh yeah.
So you can mute words on there, people. All of you with Twitter accounts, you can mute certain words and things that you don't want to hear or interact with, and they won't show up on your feed. So I like it. I've surrounded myself with the right Giants fan base, the right NFL people. So it's, and sure, we have fun with like a Joe Staley from time to time, but I enjoy it.
But hey, how about that? Twitter can actually be fun.
It can be, but people just want to use it to get upset about something, which is like fake mad. I don't know. It drives me nuts.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I always say that, by and large, I love the community at Big Blue View, and by and large, I love my followers on Twitter and all of that. But there are times when I wish I could do this job without having to communicate with readers and fans.
No. You're absolutely right, because there are a handful of Giants diehard fans that love, and they know exactly who they are. If they're listening to this, you know who they are. There's about 5 of them out there that just think they know every single thing about a team. That drives me a little bit crazy, because they talk like they've been there and done that. And I'm all for opinions. I respect them all, but the way some people talk about certain players just really gets my
everybody's entitled to their opinion. What I always try to say is, look, I value tremendously opinions and thoughts from people like you who have been inside the building, and you've worn the uniform, and from people that have scouted professionally, and people that have sat in front offices, and you may disagree with those people, but I think you have to respect the fact that they've sat in those shoes, that they've done that job, that they have a deeper understanding, than a guy on his couch.
My dog is trying to get in here.
Well, we're almost done. So, but that's how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of really, and to be honest with you, there are just some casual fans, Giants fans out there that are outstanding. Very good at what they do. The people that cover the team, just for free. There's some people that do it just because they love the team, and they are very good. and you've got to, I love liking their tweets, and
Yeah.
there's some people that know what the heck they're talking about.
Yep, you got to give them their props. Anyway, thank you very, very much for the time. Hopefully it won't be so long before we do it again.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed being here. Thanks for having me, and enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs! We can't have an NFC East team win it.
That is true. You've still got a little Chiefs blood in you.
I
there,
do.
so.
I do. I'm in town, and the town's excited, and I'm happy for them. I mean, listen, as long as you've got 15 back there, you're probably going to get a bunch more.
There you go. There you go. All right, Giants fans, thank you very, very much for listening. Take care of each other. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.